Hey guys, are you getting sick and tired of throwing anchor and having to pull it back up? Well, if you are and you're thinking about installing a trolling motor on your boat, we are going to do that today. Let me show you what we got. We are installing a lithium battery, a 36-volt trolling motor, and I'm going to go over all the reasons why you don't want your dealership installing this on a boat, because I've had so many friends come to me with issues and I want to explain them all. And this one, the dealership screwed this one up big time. I couldn't believe they did this. They forgot this thing completely. So hopefully this will help you out, guys. So let's get to it. All right guys, welcome to the video. I'm Chris, this is Salty Strikes Fishing Channel, and today we are not fishing. We're gonna be installing this 36-volt trolling motor onto this boat, and we're gonna set it up exactly the way I have mine set up. And if you guys have seen my previous videos of the install, I didn't get to film everything because I installed it before I used to film that kind of stuff. But now I try to help you guys out, and we're going to go and set up everything exactly the way I have mine set up, and hopefully it'll give you the confidence to do this yourself. It's not that hard. You're more likely going to be a lot better than if you went to the dealership. I've had several friends have issues, and as we go, I will point those out, the mistakes the dealerships made when they install these things. All right, let's go through what we're installing. We have the same 36-volt battery from Enjoy bought that I have in mine. We also got some, this is for the trolling motor, some cables to hook it up. We got a isolator switch, a breaker, charger, and then of course our Minn Kota Terrova 36-volt trolling motor. I think this is a 60-inch shaft. And this is Jeremy here. He's a subscriber. We're putting this on his boat, and he's also thinking about maybe in the future getting a bigger boat. And this thing would probably be okay, 24-volt system and like 80, which is 80-pound thrust. But you know, I always have the theory of just, you know, a little extra is better than just enough. So if you get a 36-volt 112-pound thrust, then if you get a bigger boat, you can just swap it over to that and it'll be enough. And he could probably get away with maybe a 54-inch shaft on this one. But if you got a 60, then when you switch it over, you're not going to be too short and have to start all over again. So it's better to have a little extra than, you know, just getting by. So that's just my way of thinking about stuff. But we're going to have to decide where we're going to mount this up here. Probably going to put it somewhere about right here. So we're going to have to take this cleat off so it goes along the gunnel this way. And then we're probably going to just wire the battery right down in here. All right, this is a little bit of a pain, but all right.
You think that's a whole by fat butt?
Yeah, so one of the first things that I'm going to talk about where the dealership gets it wrong is this is a mounting plate for the trolling motor, so that you can take it on and off and replace it if you need to, or if you have to get work done on it, you can, or if you want to store it, you don't want to keep it where your boat is, it's easy to pull it on and off. And dealerships tend to just buy whatever is cheapest, and with the 36-volt 112-volt pound thrust, you're supposed to use this thick one. And it seemed, and I had a friend who had a dealership install it, and they used the thin one, and it actually, because the thrust was so strong, it just kept rocking back and forth, and it was almost about to fall off the front of his boat. And he's a local charter captain too, so that would be a serious problem if he lost his trolling motor right in the middle of a trip, or he had to do some other repairs. So I helped him out, and we actually wound up just screwing some brackets down to hold it down temporarily until he could get a bigger bracket in. That was a big mistake, and hopefully it won't happen to you, so keep an eye out. All right, so now we just have to attach this bracket to here. We'll pull this caps off, and what this will do is attach to here, and then this is going to attach to the boat. See, so it just pops off like that. And because this might hang off just a little bit, we may have to drill some more holes back here just so we can get some bite on the boat.
You want me to go see if we get fender washers?
If you have those.
They won't be stainless, so.
Is that gonna help you?
Yeah, I can't really do it with two people. And just get that started. Just put that on just like that, and then we do it 3 more times, 1 in each corner here. Luckily, I'll just probably put some audio over doing this. All right, now we're gonna test fit this. About how we want to want it. And you're going to want to deploy this to make sure before you bolt anything down that this isn't going to hit this. So it needs to stick out far enough. You want about, you know, about 2 or 3 inches between here and there, so that when it flexes, and you don't want anything hitting your boat on the way down. So we'll just mark it, start drilling some holes and bolt it up. All right, this is the piece that's going to mount to the boat, and I need about 1 1/8 inches on this side, about 2 inches on this side to where we had it. And we have 1/4 inch bolts, but I'm just going with a little bit smaller to do a pilot hole marking. Then we'll come back, do a little bigger hole. All right, guys, so these have some 1/4-20 bolts that go through here, and they go down there. And usually what will come with it is these, in dealerships, that's what they'll do, is they'll put in these like smaller washers. And if you put that in there and you constantly get this rocking motion, these things will keep going up, bouncing up against your fiberglass. And I had a friend of mine who had a dealership install his, and it almost ate through all the way through the fiberglass and pulled up through. So what I like to do is, even if you have these smaller ones, get a bigger fender washer, like a big, as fat as you can get. And sometimes you can even stack these two if you want on that, like that, just to give it a little more reinforcement. And what this is going to do is it helps spread the load. So when it pulls up on that fiberglass, it spreads the load over a wider area, so you won't get that where it's ruining your fiberglass and pokes a hole through it. That's a big mistake I've seen a lot of dealerships do, is these. Do yourself a favor, get some big fender washers. This one's better anyway, it's thicker. And guys, make sure you're using a nylock nut. And you can use a regular nut with a lock washer on it, but I prefer the nylocks, much better. It's, you know, less likely of a chance of it working itself loose, especially, you know, because this boat gets a rocking and stuff. You just want something snug and secure. And just tighten these down. These are the 2 holes that come with it, and this thing is going to stick over a little sideways, so these aren't going to work anymore. So we're going to put 2 more right here. It'd been nice if they gave you some options, but they probably really want you to use the very corners, so to give it the most support. But the only other option is to put screw down another starboard or something, or aluminum plate down this way to stick out this far onto here, and then screw this onto that. But, you know, a lot of people do it this way and just come up a little short and just put 2 holes in here, and that tends to work just fine too. But, you know, do what the manufacturer recommends if you're worried. All right, we're gonna do a little test fit real quick. Make sure that's going right where we want it. And looks pretty streamlined. There's room for that to close there. And we got plenty of room for it to hang off here. Now we just got to drill those other 2 holes, put 2 more bolts in. All right, and see, these are countersunk bolts. You see it's got that wedge, that's called countersunk. And we're just going to use a countersink bit, and it's basically going to make a wedge just like it comes stock, so that this fits flat down here and nothing's sticking up. First I used a little smaller to drill the pilot hole. Now I'm going to use the 1/4 inch and finish it off. All right, they're flush. This is the hard part. The hard part is holding on to all three of these so as you get up underneath here. But it's not that tough. If you drop it, just pick it back up and do it again.
Oh, he broke it up already.
All right, that's done. Okay, it comes with this little piece that goes in here so that you can lock it in place. And you just take this provided screw that goes in with it and screw that in. And then we set it down. And this slides onto here. And you can just throw a lock on here if you want to. You don't worry about somebody taking it. And make sure you use like a 3/16 stainless steel lock or something, because otherwise after a little while in salt water you'll be cutting it off. All right, now we got that thing set up. All we have to do is just wire it up. And I like to have a plug that you can take on and off. Like he wants one, especially because when he stores it, he wants to take his trolling motor with him so it doesn't stay out where somebody can snatch it. So, because even if you do put a lock on it, somebody will zip that thing right off. And so he's just going to be able to pull this thing on and off. And this is from Minn Kota. And I've seen a lot of dealerships kind of mess this up. Well, they don't really mess it up, but it's just they use cheap ones. And you don't want to use cheap ones because over time you can get salt water and corrosion in there. And if it doesn't make good contact, you know, then you can have, you know, heat buildup or just too many amps trying to push through and not enough contact, and it can melt the wires. So I really like these. This is the one I use. It seals really well, it holds good, and it's got nice thick wire. That's another thing that I see the dealerships do is they use too small a wire. And just make sure you're using wire rated for this. Like this trolling motor should, I think when I looked it up, it's the max 47 amps. That's almost 50 amps. That's a lot. And some of them people are using like 12 gauge wire. I wouldn't use anything less than 8 gauge. But we got 6 gauge just in case, because that's rated for at least 50 amps or more. And we're going to put those on. And we also have 2 other things that go between the battery and that. And we'll show you those. And we're trying to find a place to select. And we think we're going to put this right about here. That's because there's a flat space back here where this part can stick out, but there's a wall that comes up to about right here that goes all the way down, and you can actually run the wires over. It comes right out here, and then we're going to be able to wire everything up right here. There we go. All right, guys, here's our extension cable, because obviously this is not going to be enough cable. And what they provide for you is 4 of these, 2 for this one and 2 for the other part that goes into here. But these things will just slide into here, and you will put a shrink wrap on, slide this into here, that into there, tighten those down with some Allen wrenches, slip this over, use the heat gun, and here, I'll just show you. I'm going to tighten these down. There you go. And we're just gonna feed this into here. All right, one more thing I forgot. I honestly like to just use some electric tape and tape these together, just so in case you gave a little tug, they don't pull out. And this goes in here like this. So get right in there. And you got this little plate that's got a hex shape that goes right over top of this. And we just screw that into there. I like to drill a pilot hole, because if you try to screw into fiberglass, you tend to just snap off your screws. And then the plug's just going to go right in here and screw on. And then so now we just got to connect these two together. Okay, the way we connected those other two wires together, we're going to cut this and do the same thing here, except we'll slide this thing over top of it. So at the end, that's going to go over it. All right, now we got that all straightened out. Just gonna take this wire, so a wall up underneath here, and just feed it down.
Well, there we go. Or do you need it?
That's plenty up out of the way. There's plenty of wire here. All right, so this little wall just screws back down to there, and we're gonna attach disconnect to it, power disconnect. I always like to use a power disconnect when I'm connected to any battery source. It just allows you to disconnect the power in case you got to mess with anything, plug stuff in. Like, it's probably better to plug and unplug things, like if you have to remove the trolling motor, to have it just disconnect the power. And you're also going to need a breaker. This brand has been working for me just fine. I use it in my boat, I use it in my RV, all kinds of places, and I have yet to have one fail on me. Everybody's like, use Blue Sea, only Blue Sea. Like, I've never had one of these faults on me. And you want to get this at least rated for, like, you can run these things, will pull up to 47 amps. And if you get like a 50 amp breaker, and if you run it full blast for a little while, it's probably going to trip it. So you want to get just a little higher, and because we got the bigger wire, it's going to be rated for more, so you don't have to worry about burning out the wire. And so this is a 60 amp breaker, which is typical for a 36 volt trolling motor. And we're just going to mount these two here, and then one negative goes to the battery, and then the other one will come off of here and go to the positive.
All right,
I'm going to show you how we make these ends real quick. You're going to take some heat shrink, slip it on after you strip a little bit of wire out. You take the lug, put that on there, get your little crimper, crimp it. All right, ran out of propane. Let's see if a lighter will do it. That one on this side.
only thing I don't have to do is
Just gonna put this on here, lock nut, nut. And then you'll see this side will say battery and load. This is going to load. And some people will use these as a battery switch by just setting the, releasing the breaker. But honestly, that's not a good idea because it's just going to wear out faster. Try to use this as little as possible and it'll last you a lot longer. So don't use this as an on-off switch. Have a designated disconnect switch. And then we'll have this one going to the trolling motor, and then this one will go going to the battery, and you grip them the same way. And this is actually the foam that came with the battery that was in the box. So we're going to stick that down there, and it's just going to give it a little bit of cushion. And here, I'll take it. And we got our battery here. This is a 100 amp hour, 36 volt lithium battery from EnjoyBot. And I'll have links for the trolling motor, the battery, and everything down in the description here below. The disconnect, the breakers, the wires, the plug, and everything. So if you want to check it out and you're willing to do this yourself, but we'll get this all right. And this unit here actually came with a charger, and you have two kinds way you can attach it. You got the gator clips, and then you have this where you can just bolt this to the battery, and then you can just come and plug this in when you need to. And we could just secure that somewhere over here so that when you go to charge it, you just pop it into place and you can keep this high and dry. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try something out. This is the top piece of foam. All right. And then we'll probably mount this right here so you can just plug it in. And then it'd also be a good idea to put some kind of strap over here just to stop it from moving around, but this is going to help until he gets some kind of strap to put on there. And that's up to you guys, however you want to secure your battery. So when you want to go charge your battery, you just take this and plop it in right there, and then plug the other into 120. All right, we're almost done with the trolling motor. We just gotta use a pair of pliers to hold this little spacer and take the nut off. You see there's two little indentions there. That's keyed for that. When you pull it off, it comes with this little red washer. You discard that and just use the one stainless washer on here. And then you just tighten it down pretty snug. Don't need the pliers because this, you can just hold the propeller and snug it down. There you go. All right, guys, we are almost done with this project. We have one more thing to do, and this was the biggest baffle that I had that a dealership did to a friend of mine. And this one, the dealership screwed this one up big time. I couldn't believe they did this. They forgot this thing completely. All right, guys, the last thing to install is this little puck sensor. And this is basically a compass directional heading sensor. So when you put this in, it's got a little arrow, you gotta have that facing forward. So it'll always be able to, and it connects via Bluetooth to the trolling motor and tells it which way is north and which way the boat is facing. So if you want to jog left, right, forward, or backwards, it'll know in what relation to which way the boat is swinging, then it's going that direction, and it'll know, so it'll be able to move the boat in the direction that you want to when you hit the remote. But this is just a 12-volt power source, so you just got to find a positive and negative to wherever. You don't want to leave it on all the time, so you want it to be somewhere where it's connected to the battery source, that when you disconnect the battery, this shuts off too. And you don't have to reconnect to Bluetooth every time. It automatically does it. As soon as you send power to it, it'll connect to the trolling motor. But we're looking around here trying to find a place to put it, and we're going to try to put it up here and see if it works. Most of this stuff is plastic around here. Even this is plastic, that's plastic. And you're not supposed to put it around any metal because it's a compass and it has to know which way is north. So any kind of metal magnetic metal that will deter it could cause a problem for it. We'll stick it there, and if he has issues, we'll move it. But this boat just doesn't have a whole lot of space for it. You can put it back, you can put it on a gunnel, anywhere that, you know, you got space for it. We have this 12-volt cigarette lighter thing here, so we're probably just going to pull this off and tap into this thing. All right, we're probably going to put this about right there. That's for the cable to go through, and they give you a lot of cable. Then heading north. Another pre-drill. All right, I got a 12-volt power source right here and negative right here, which we are just going to tap into. I think that's about 12 gauge, so we're going to strip it. And these are really awesome wire strippers. I'll leave these in the description area too below in case you guys want to get some. But these are fantastic. And what I have here are these little Wago connectors. And you just shove them in, put it down. And what all I'm going to do is, it's really better to have like an extra pin connector, but I'm just going to wrap these and shove them in because these little wires do not take up that much space. Let's pop that up. Close it. Makes it super easy for making connections. And I also like to take a little bit of tape and just wrap it around here so these don't pop up on accident. And see, you can pull on them, they're not coming out. Let that dangle up to there so that it doesn't hang down. Shove that back in place. All right, so we're gonna hit that so it starts pairing, and you got about a minute or two. Turn that on. Power that up, and then there's a little button up here. You hit pairing. I think you hold it down for like a couple of seconds. All right, there you go, and you hear the little beep, 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 beep. You're all set. So everything is installed. All right, and this is pretty self-explanatory. Up here in the top left, this is the most important button of all. It's the anchor button. Basically, when you get on a reef or wherever you want to go, you drop your trolling motor, you hit that, and it'll use GPS spot lock to keep you right there. And then if you just want to move over to the left 5 feet, you hit this once. Move over to the left 10 feet, just click that twice. And same thing this way. You go this way and it'll jog 5 foot at a time, or forward or backwards 5 foot at a time. Those are the most important things. And this one right here just turns the motor on. You can see it turns the motor on, and you can just go faster or slower. That's one. And then you just hit it again to turn it off. And then you can use this for directional. Pretty simple. All right, so we're all set except for one thing, and that is that lithium battery has an app, and it'll tell you exactly how much power you have, how much you're using, and all that fancy stuff. And I made a video, you know, discussing about this battery and how long it'll last you. I'll leave that down in the description below if you want to check it out. But 100 amp hours, especially on a boat this size, is going to last a long time. You could probably go 6 or 7 trips without charging. But we got it all installed, but it wasn't that hard. If you know, hopefully this helps you guys out, and you know, that's why I make these videos. I'll leave links for all the products we use in the description area below in case you want to get one. Don't be afraid to tackle this yourself. It's not that tough. So, you happy?
Thanks, man. Appreciate
All right.
it.
All right, guys. And if you're enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe, notification bell, because we got a lot of fishing stuff coming up. Give this video a big thumbs up. Shows us you appreciate the content, because we appreciate you guys. Until we see you next time, guys, stay salty.